I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Are there any additions to the agenda?
Mr. Chairman, a couple of additions, if I may. At 9:10, I would like to add Sheriff Vreeman and Chief Deputy Heyman to discuss for action simulcast paging upgrade to our paging system countywide. And you do have a copy of the request in your packet. Everyone should have that, and the media also has packets sitting on the table as well. And after that, I would like to add, it doesn't have to have a time on it, like to request through Auditor Treasurer Tyler Reich that an auditor's warrant be allowed for Great American Financial. So we'll take that up as an action item as well. And that's all I have, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, with those two additions, I'll move the agenda.
Okay.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Consent agenda, we got the minutes of February 11th, the auditor's warrants from the 18th and 21st, and hospital warrants for $791,904.33.
I would move the consent agenda.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Nick?
Morning.
Morning.
The only update I have today is for the Indian Lakes Trail project. I was hoping we'd get it, everything put together for like a March 28th letting, but we didn't get our info back from the state in time. So it looks like we'll be looking at April 14th for that project.
So just to extend the date till the 14th.
We didn't even
We
start
didn't even set it.
What's that?
We didn't set the date at.
I don't remember. I think we set it for the 28th, but it might have to get pushed back to the 14th. And
Would you like to take that action now, or do you want to wait until we get a little closer, we firm things up when you need it? What would you
no,
like?
we can do it now because we have to, it has to advertise for a few weeks and it has to have a waiting period after that. So it takes about a month. So
What time would you like then?
10:30.
10:30?
Yep.
Okay. Mr. Chair, I move that we set April 14th at 10:30 for a letting date for the Indian Lakes project.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
all right. Any other questions for me? Otherwise, that's all I had.
Stone Arch Bridge, any more updates on that at all?
No,
Okay.
I haven't heard anything on that in probably
It's been a while.
a year, I guess. We've never dealt with that before, so I don't even know how we get notified of that.
Okay.
You know,
Because Dave pretty much had headed that up as the one that was getting put together. And
Well, we got a grant to do plans on it,
Right.
and we planned on just waiting till they found grant money to do the construction, because I think, what was the estimate, $500,000 or something,
3/4, I think.
3/4 it was a lot for that, and I thought, yeah, we're not gonna be able
But
to.
does somebody from MinDOT take that on then to try to get that, or?
Yeah, he thought they would.
Yeah.
That was his estimate of how that would happen, so, yeah, I'll hear something eventually on it, so, but that's a huge impact to our program if we take state aid money
Oh, yeah.
and use it
or
on that.
local
That's
to do
right.
that, so. He always felt if they gave us a grant to do the first part, they'd give us a grant to do the construction eventually, so,
Right.
sounds like a good plan to me, so.
Well, thank you, Dick.
All right, any other questions for me? Otherwise, that's all I had for today.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Sheriff Freeman? Mike?
Morning.
Morning.
We're here to talk about upgrading our paging system, simulcast. It's been talked about for a number of years now. It's something we've seen it coming, we're gonna have to do. We've had some problems with some of our repeaters and stuff in the last few months. Reason now we kind of get this going right now is we're gonna paint the water tower. We have to take all our antennas off. we thought, well, once they put the antennas back up, we might as well put the new stuff back up and save some money in the long run. So we got a bid from Alpha Wireless. Mike's been working on this, along with Administrator Ewing's been working on it kind of. So took it to the 911 board and discussed it, and everybody's kind of on board. So I'll let Mike explain what it is.
So, yeah, simulcast paging system is basically an upgrade to what we're currently operating on. What we're operating on now, from the nearest we could tell at the conversation we had at the 911 committee meeting, is early 80s, approximately. Of course, there's been a little bit of upgrading and changing from here to there, but the basics of that system is that old. Not that it's not working appropriately, it is. We've just had, as Sheriff Freeman says, starting to have some issues with technology, and that's actually held up very well. Simulcast paging is a little different than the current paging. Simulcast paging will actually be able to send resources or other agencies out, multiple agencies at one time, instead of repeating every agency that needs to be used for that incident, sending out a page individually to all those agencies like we do now. It's just a little more clandestine. It's opens the door up for miscommunication sometimes by accident because of things that are going on. So the use of it will be beneficial for our staff and the responding agencies, and more importantly, the people we're trying to get help to. Second of all, it will also help us, this upgrade will also help us obviously upgrade the resources we have at the bottom of all of those tower sites, which there's 3 in the county and 1 currently in the city of Pipestone that the county has responsibility for. With this upgrade, they will update the transmitters and receivers at those locations. We plan on using the same infrastructure on the towers, the coax cable and the antennas. So that's kind of why this project's actually a lot cheaper than if you were to ask adjoining counties that did it. It was a lot more expensive for them. They moved particular towers in areas where they thought they needed them to help responders, and that obviously gets very expensive. We've talked to the responders out in the county as well as in the city here, and everybody's happy with how they're getting their pages, so we don't feel like we need to move the imprint of those towers. Just creates probably more issues. So we're lucky there. So with that being said, the amount that Alpha Wireless had quoted us was $59,539.31. That will include those upgrades that we talked about just a little bit ago, and also will take care of training up at the dispatch center and any changes we need to make at the dispatch council for that. There'll be some button changes, just some layout stuff, nothing too serious. This will also include abandoning, right behind us here in the radio room is the old Kenwood equipment we used for the old dispatch council. We resourced that in 2012 when we added armor to use it as our backup. We're going to take that out, use some of, well, actually the Pipestone repeater base. We're going to take that, we're going to move that to the back room, and that can do everything that all those resources are doing now is one. So we're also going to free up quite a bit of space in the radio room with this as well. And bring up our backup to easier to work with if we have problems with it. I think did I get everything on that, Steve?
No, I should take care of that. For the board members, this is probably, it is the biggest change to paging since we put in paging. And virtually all the counties around us have had simulcast paging for years and years. And to be able to allow dispatch to send out one page that sends out, for instance, Pipestone Fire, Pipestone Ambulance, the first responders, or whatever you need, and give that message once instead of having to repeat, which takes more time and more time. Just this is a huge change, and it's a very good change. And then sirens too, right?
Right, and then this will also be. Currently, we activate the county civil defense, or what we call CD sirens, civil defense sirens, from the county fire repeaters, which we're not going to change. So those will be activated the same. However, though, the 5 sites in the city of Pipestone are activated currently by the Pipestone Fire Department repeater. We're going to abandon that repeater in this project So I did talked with Jeff Jones up at City Hall, gave him some information on what we're doing. The cost to the city will be minimal in updating the frequencies that's received on to receive it on the new infrastructure. The sirens they have are new enough that they just need to be programmed. They don't need to be replaced. They don't need new components. As far as we know at this point, that project will go in line with this one for this cost that we're requesting today. I'll just note a couple things. First of all, projects that were like this, similar to our county, similar to our size, similar to infrastructure, we're almost 2.5 to 3 times this figure because we're not changing the infrastructure. That's important to understand from the cost expense part of it. The other part is we've asked Alpha Wireless for the bid, and that's the only reason, or the only vendor we have a bid from, because they do our current radio infrastructure maintenance agreement and installations of the council. It just gets complicated with technology if you bring in a different vendor to try to do this project in the middle of what's already working on. So to put that in perspective as one bundle, to understand that this looks like a lot of money, and it certainly is, but it's in perspective, we're fortunate for some of the cost savings.
And this includes the removal of the stuff from the water tower and then putting it back on?
It does not,
It's not.
because that is a separate project in and of itself. We have not received any quotes on what that's gonna cost us. It's what we're gonna just have to do. Alpha Wireless obviously will work with us on that, and we've worked with the hospital, Pete Swanson out there with finding a temporary place for the mast to be mounted on the side of the hospital, so we don't have to move that to a different infrastructure in the city of Pipestone, but.
Right.
So.
We had a fire chief meeting last week, and all the fire chiefs are aware they'll have a little expense because all the pagers are gonna have to be reprogrammed or touched, they call it, and be a couple $100 expense for each department, but they're,
For each department or each unit?
each department.
Okay.
Yep, for one complete department will be approximately, well, Alpha Wireless, as you can see in the proposal, proposed about $250 per department, if that department so choose them to do that. But of course, if they have their own private vendors they use with their paging, their actual physical pagers, they should go to their own vendor. And we'll work, I'll coordinate that, be the liaison with them and other vendors if
Yeah,
there
we'll
is
give them
any.
an option, but if they have their own option, it's fine too. So.
Okay.
And they're all on board. They see the benefit of not waiting for the second, third page. By that, and the dispatchers had 3 other 911 calls about the fire.
Right.
You know, all your 10 minutes is up, you know, and they're all on board. Our dispatchers are all think it's gonna be a great deal, so.
Mr. Chair, I'd make a motion to approve this.
I will second that.
Okay. Any further discussion or questions?
I do have a question on the bid or on the quote, because again, Alpha is just a single vendor. The shipping of $1,200, is there justification? Is there a lot of equipment, or that seems like a lot of money just for shipping?
So every site will get, we're gonna replace the current STX 3000 model that's there. One site actually has an older model than that. In my experience, when we've had to replace the other ones, typically that's the shipping for one site. So we're gonna replace 4.
Is it because of the physical size, or there's that many
No,
units?
the
that they
physical
it's the
size
physical
of it
size.
is, it's a lot smaller than the old ones, of course, but they're still, you know, they're half the size of this table and probably half the height of this table roughly, or,
It's the equipment rack, isn't it?
right? So I mean,
Everything's
you
in that.
got the rack and the equipment that's in it, and, so yeah, I mean, I guess I'm not a shipping expert.
They
but-
probably have to be crated and shipped, I bet.
Right, and I'm assuming, seems like everything we do anymore, shipping is a factor on anything we buy from our standpoint anyways, the sheriff's office, but yeah, I can only speak to that, about that line item.
Anything big, if you crate it and ship it on semi, it's in the
Yeah,
hundreds.
The racks are about the size of, half-size mini fridge, I guess you'd call it, that they put in dorms and things like that. that
Right, that's,
Stand about 3 feet
But
by
just
3
do
feet.
what you can to challenge them to make sure that they're being fair to us.
yep.
Okay, any other questions, or? Okay, all those in favor of the motion?
I
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, and it'll be probably what, May, June, we get started if we can get,
Hopefully in the next,
so,
let's say by
by this
July.
summer we should be,
I
yeah.
hope.
By fall it should be working. But, so it'll be a while, but yet this year, yes, so.
Very good.
By fall, you'll have the bugs out of it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Personnel? Good morning.
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 I just have one request for the board this morning. And we did interviews for our highway maintenance worker job in, I think, the end of January, beginning of February. And we did have some really good candidates. We interviewed 5, and they were all pretty good candidates, really. And with that, we had to kind of go up on our salary offer to our top candidate, and I did run it past the personnel committee, and they were okay with it. Chris and Les reviewed it. Our top candidate has some agronomy experience, experience running various equipment, applicator experience, has Class A CDL with all endorsements, and we would like to hire him in at step F, which is $22.18 per hour. For reference, it's about $3 an hour over the bottom of the range. So I would be seeking board approval of the salary offer to this top candidate.
I'd move to approve.
Second.
Any questions?
Ramifications in for the other highway workers as far as the steps, make sure that it's equitable.
Yeah, we tried to be as fair as possible. We do have another employee that's on this step, but will be moving up in a few months. So we think we're okay. We weren't willing to go any higher than this, so.
Well, it sounds like your justification is very solid here. If he's already got his CDL with all endorsements, and he's got his applicator's license as well, too, you said. So he certainly, like I said, comes in with more marketable skills, so it makes sense.
Mr. Chair, I know there's a couple others that had declined the position because of the wage. It wasn't high enough. They made more money in their previous job too. So, and that's kind of the market we're facing now too. And I have, a candidate like that has a degree and everything, and especially that agronomy experience, that would really help for, our ditches and everything around the county. We looked at, it really looked like a good asset. So,
And if we want quality employees, which we do, we have to pay them a fair wage. So, no, this, as long as we can justify it, I'm fully behind it.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions? Not all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. That is all I had this morning.
Okay, thank you. Water Tower Festival request?
Okay. Mr. Chair and board members received a request from Tom Steffes at the Chamber for a request to use the courthouse grounds for the 2020 Water Tower Festival. The dates requested are Thursday, June 25th through Sunday, June 28th. He's stating that they'll work with Wayne and the city to get the tent put up again on the grounds as usual. Put that up on a Wednesday, take it down on Monday the 29th. Says right now, as of now, activities will be very similar to last year. So I'd request a motion to allow the chamber to use the water tower, use our grounds for the Water Tower Festival again.
So move.
And second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
The other thing going on with that too is we were notified by the city that they are going to be planning to asphalt Second Avenue over here. So I don't know when they're going to do that this year, but that street is, we're all aware, is
Hopefully
pretty much
before
falling
that.
apart.
Yeah.
So they're going from basically, I think, a few feet to the north of would be Fifth, and then running it all the way to at least Third. So, but I don't know when they're going to do that. I just heard it's on their list to do this year.
Good.
Hopefully they'll coordinate around Water Tower Festival, either get it done before, obviously, or after. So.
Sure they will.
And Wayne also is aware of that too, so he can get our
Yes.
driveway approach all ready for it. And
Yep,
Good.
absolutely.
Okay, Then you had an auditor warrant request?
Yes. Remember that the Auditor Treasurer's Office, through the Recorder's Compliance Fund, are leasing a copier. The way apparently it's paid is it has to be paid to a company called Great American Financial that collects the money for the company that we bought it from on the lease. So what Tyler is asking for is to include Great American Financial to be included as an auditor's warrant. And the reason for that is if we don't pay it on time, they will charge a $20 late fee every time. And the way our bills get coordinated in paying our bills, it will always be late. So we said, instead of why we shouldn't be paying $20 every month, let's just add it to the auditor's warrant list. So I would request a motion to add Great American Financial to the auditor's warrant list.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Is there anything else to come before us today? Upcoming meetings, obviously the legislative conference in St. Paul will begin tonight through Thursday. Chili feed at the Methodist Church is on Saturday. And the Road and Bridge public hearing is next Tuesday, March 3rd, 9 a.m. at the Highway Shop.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All those in favor?
All right.
Opposed? You're out of here.
All right.